Where is your favorite spot to train out of those locations that you have named?
Uh, it would be a tie with ATT and with Montreal. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say my favorite spot to train is Brazil for sure.
Wow. And
Rio, yeah.
uh, going to Brazil, before it was very important probably for people that did the sport. Do you think nowadays it's still as important, or is North America catching up, or not even close?
No, it's still just as important. You know, I always say this: Brazil is to BJJ what Thailand is to Muay Thai. You know, so if you really want to go and immerse yourself in the sport and really experience the martial art, you know, unlike any other place, that's where you have to go, you know? I mean, you can have, you know, the best black belt in the world teaching in LA or wherever, and he's going to have great students and it's going to be good, but there's no other place like training in Rio or in Sao Paulo or Brazil, you know, because the sport there's just a different energy in the air. You know, there's a different mentality when people train. The sport is a little bit more advanced because there's so many competitions there. So, you know, people are more competitive. So it's just a different feel altogether. And anyone who has gone to train in Brazil will tell you the same thing.
Nice. And when you're in Brazil, where is a spot that you love to train, or is it numerous spots?
Well, the place that's dearest in my heart is, of course, the Cross and Gracie Academy, which is, you know, where I started. The last time I was there, I trained a lot at Gordo's in Gracie Baja, which is excellent. But I also trained at the Claudio Coelho's boxing gym, Nobre Arte, and also, where else there? Those are the three main places that I train.
All right.
Yeah.
August 2nd, 1998, you made your MMA debut. On that card also, there was 4 people that made it to the UFC. Can you name at least 3 of them?
Okay, it's going to be Dennis Hallman, uh, Bob Gilstrap, I believe, Jeff Munson, Lee Remedios, right? Was
It
there
was
one more?
close. There is. It's Caleb
Caleb
Stearns.
Starnes. Yeah, of course. I
You have
knew
a
that. I
great
knew that. I
memory.
knew that. Yeah. Oh, of course, man. You know what? I remember every single one of my fights.
Okay, and
I'm
that's.
not gonna name them all because there's a lot. There's over 50.
I was just gonna say that there's over 50. Is there one that stands out uh, the most to you?
I wouldn't say, you know, there are some that stand out for different reasons, but you know, the one that comes to mind is my second fight in Pride against Andrei Semenov because it was my first fight at that weight at 183, 182, sorry, and I broke my hand early in the fight, like I think it was the beginning of the first round, and it was just a tough fight because that guy, you know, Russians are tough. Semenov is a tough customer, as we all know.
And how was it? Obviously, going through the local ranks, you get the call. You're in Pride. How does that feel?
It was, you know what? Thinking on it now, it must have felt awesome. But I remember at that time, it didn't feel because I'd been fighting. I was fighting so often at the time. It just felt like another fight. I was trying to get myself excited and think, okay, I made it. I'm fighting in Pride finally. But you know, it was just, and in a way, it was good that it was like that because I didn't get too excited, you know. But it really did just feel like another fight.
You have one of the longest winning streaks in the history of MMA. Would you like to speak on that and how that feels? What's your mindset going into that, knowing that you haven't lost in a long time?
Well, at that time, you know, you never really think about it going into a fight, you know. I mean, if as soon as you start thinking about that and thinking how you don't want to end your streak, that's when, you know, your mind is in the wrong spot. You know, you got to stay focused on the fight itself and on fighting good and not winning or losing, you know. So I remember at that time, kind of brings me back to the previous question when you're talking about Pride. I didn't really think about whether this was a big fight or not or whether I was winning or losing. I was just so focused and intent on the moment, you know?
All right, and then from there, you got a call to the UFC, the biggest show in the world right now. Did that even phase you, or do you have the same mindset?
No, it was about the same, you know? I remember when I got the offer for the UFC, it was right after I won 2 fights in a row. I won a fight in Korea, and then after that, I beat Marvin Eastman. So I was kind of riding another streak, you know? I had a little bit of momentum, so I was happy, you know, don't get me wrong, but it felt, I stayed focused, is what I mean.
For those that haven't seen it, if you check out the fight with Marvin Eastman, it's one of the biggest KOs I've ever
Yeah, it
seen.
was fast.
It was unbelievable. I've seen you fight 4 times live. Every time you put on a great show. Is there in the future more fights to come from Denis Kang?
Absolutely. I'm taking a bit of a break right now. I need to have, I just need to rest a little bit, my body and my head. But I'd say in about 6 months, probably by the end of the summer this year, I'll be fighting again.
All right, everyone loves to play matchmaker. I'm not the only one. We're gonna get the internet going nuts right now. I'm thinking Paulo Filho. There's some unfinished business.
Hey, for sure, man. We fought to a draw the first time. I'd love to fight him again. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good fighter, but if you know, I think him and I can put on a good fight for the fans together.
I agree. Any dream fights that come to your head?
No, not really. You know, at this point, I just wanna. I need to get my head right and get focused for a good training camp. You know.
All right.